Good morning. It is 8:05 on day 3 of July 5th. We are just leaving camp that you can see behind us. J Camp. Spent the night in there last night. It was pretty warm, but it was a dry place to be. And making our way to Hazen Camp. So even though we aren't getting a very early start, we were the first ones out of camp this morning. So Tupt is getting to do silk blazing. And that's going to be today's trail term. So silk blazing is the first person out of camp. The spiders tend to make webs across the trails at night, and you run into their silk. So you're silk blazing. We have reached Vermont Route 242, also known as J Pass. Oh, there's no signs on this side. There is on the other side of the road though. Wait for this car to pass. You know, put a road crossing on the trail right below a blind hill. Yep. We made it! Hooray!
Anybody familiar with Frogger?
Thankfully we didn't play that. Or we played it successfully. But here we go, starting our next climb. So if you're on the trail and you don't want to have to go into J Camp to get water, and you need water, just before you cross, or just after, if you're SOBO, just before you cross Route 242, or just after going SOBO, there's a piped spring. It's a very slow trickle, but you could very easily get water out of it. The Long Trail is nice enough to greet you with a hearty climb just about every morning. So this is looking down at some of where we've been. Did some steeper climbs than this yesterday. If you look up, there's Tupt up ahead for our morning climb. View from overlook at Gillespie Mountain, which we just made it to. Heading back onto the Long Trail. There's the there's a stumble for the morning. Got that on video. Great. Gilpin Mountain is the name of the mountain that we're on. South Peak, elevation 290 feet. Long Trail continues that way. Interesting little rock formation. Even more interesting, it's all the trees growing out of the top of it. Amazing how they can do that, even though there's not much soil up there for them to grow in. Tupt climbing up near the top of Domey's Dome. Climb up this one hasn't been as bad. Up Gilpin Peak was pretty steep. The very top here has been steep on Domey's Dome, but fortunately don't think there's really any views up here. Unless of course you're looking for moose. Then there's signs of moose. Here's the sign. Coming up, we have made it up Domey's Dome. Elevation 2,880 feet. There's some spots, maybe, if you wanted to tent up here. Not a lot of spots, but you have to bring your own water though.
Sometimes the trail is rather level and just duff and a few rocks here and there. Sometimes you've got roots and branches and other obstacles to go around.
We've stopped for lunch at Chet's Lookout. We'll go up on the lookout to show the view. Right now there's a nice log sitting here, but it's just we're gonna have wraps with some flavored chicken packets. But we got our first trail magic, and it might not seem like a magical thing to some, but I have an empty trash bag or Ziploc bag to use for trash. So when we were at J Camp this morning, Mama Bear and her daughter were heading out to finish their little section hike, so they offered to take our trash with us, so it was nice to not have to carry the trash the whole way to Johnson. Much appreciated. Now for lunch.
Okay.
And here's the finished product, our chicken wraps that we're having for lunch.
I'm having tuna.
Okay, she's having tuna. I'm having Southwest chicken.
So in my bag of tricks that I take with me, I have some Vaseline. I've found out that that's really good for using on my feet because I used to have a lot of issues with blisters and hot spots. Smear some on in the morning when I'm getting ready and then put sock liners and darn tough socks on and usually good to go. Some Body Glide just in case, like where the strap rubs on from your backpack. That's also been helpful. And then I just recently got a gift from one of the kiddos that I worked with at school and his grandmother. A whole list of organic things that are in it. And one of the things that it has been noted is that it's good for bug bites. And I just happened to get one on my finger just now and pulled it out, and it is coming in really handy. So thank you so much for that gift.
View from Chet's Lookout. Best thing about that mountain in the distance, we didn't climb it and we don't have to. We've reached the summit of Buchanan Mountain, 2,940 feet. It's a viewless summit, but one more that's out of the way, and mostly downhill the rest of the afternoon to Hazen Notch Camp. So the long trail is marked with white blazes, and usually you're happy if you can see the next one. But this section just north of, heading southbound, just before the Hazen Notch camp is very well blazed. You can see 2 from here. There's been places where you could see the next 4 or 5. So compliments to whoever came out to paint the blazes in this section. We have reached the turn to Hazen's Notch camp. It's 1/10 of a mile down this way. And getting into camp much earlier today. Did a short day. And we'll hopefully show you the camp if there's not a lot of others there.
For a short time, we're going to exchange our white blazes for blue blazes.
Correct. We're going to follow some blue blazes. I talked about white blazes earlier. You'll see there's a blue blaze on this tree, which is leading us on a side trail down to camp. This is the end of day recap for Friday, July 5th. Day 3, we hiked from J Camp to Hazen's Notch Camp. We're starting out really slow, just taking short days to try to avoid injuring ourselves. It was a nice day. The temperature was a little warm. We got to camp and got set up and were able to clean up a little bit in the stream and met fallen kale. And then we had 3 more hikers come in like just before dark, and but overall it was a pretty good day.